A game of rugby takes 80 minutes. That's 4,800 seconds. But it only takes one to win a scrum, to steal a line out, make a break, and score a try. 1 second for a hero to become a legend. For one team to become champions. The Glendale Raptors came into the inaugural season as odds-on favourites, led by hardened veterans and superstars of the future. Only once all year have they left without the W, and that happened right here at Torero Stadium. The surprise of the season, the Seattle Seawolves and their aptly named Seawall defence, and the rabid wolfpack of fans, led by a former Bull, have followed them here to the ultimate goal in San Diego. These two remain, but now there can be only one. One team crowned the original Major League Rugby champion. The kickoff to history happens now.
It's Championship Saturday in San Diego as the Raptors and Seawolves are on a collision course for the America's Championship Shield right here on CBS Sports. Good evening, welcome to Torero Stadium for what promises to be a historic night for rugby in America. Dan Powell with you alongside Brian Hightower, Pete Steinberg, and gentlemen, after 12 weeks it all comes down to this. As we take a look at how both these sides made it here tonight, and Pete, those Glendale Raptors, they certainly earned that #1 ranking.
Absolutely, they lead the league in points and tries, but they're also the most penalised team in the league, and I think Seattle are going to try and take advantage of that. But guys, this is a game about the set piece, and we have the two best set piece defenses here in Seattle's scrum and Glendale's lineout.
Yeah, and what makes these Glendale Raptors so good? A couple things. First, their head coach, Dave Williams, has put in solid structures around every facet of the game, but then he allows the players to play with freedom around those structures. And then they know each other better than any team in the MLR. This core group of players, Pete, has been together longer than any other team, and that makes them dangerous.
And that familiarity, Brian, allows Glendale to play a complex attack with all these different lines and different players, making it very difficult for the defense to know who's going to get the ball. But it also allows for tremendous support lines, as you see Mike Kruse coming, making that break, and then look at Harley Davidson all the way from the other wing to finish this move. What a beautiful try.
And Pete, there's really no better example of experience than a good driving maul. It starts with number 2, Zach Fenolio. Now keep your eyes on the scrum cap of Ben Landry. He'll bring the ball down, and now it's all parts moving together. 8 men, and look at number 2 on the right, Zach Fenolio. He'll end up with the ball. Now you see it, now you don't. Now they drive together. It is a orchestrated, choreographed move that ends up in a beautiful try, and that is impossible to stop.
And Brian, they are the masters of the ruck. Potential bad ball here. Danger signs. Davey saves quickly. And look how they turn a potentially bad moment into a positive one with this try. And for more on how the ruck will be enforced tonight, we welcome our very own Stacey Pates.
Unlike American football, when a tackle happens in rugby, the ball is still live. Jordan Gray, tell us more.
So once the tackle is made, the tackler then has to roll away.
Okay, and Hope's not rolling away, so that's a penalty.
Next, what has to happen is that you have to come from your own side to be able to contest on defense.
All right, so Abby's coming in from the side. That would be a penalty. So now Abby's going to readjust and come in from her side.
Next, players come from both sides to form a ruck to try and drive over the ball.
But Abby can't use her hands. This would be a penalty.
Let's take a look at today's Glendale lineup brought to you by Guinness.
So last week, Glendale went big, but a change in strategy by Dave Williams pushes Dylan Fawcett to the bench and brings in Peter Dahl. And look for Mika Kruse, who was the young 19-year-old last week, who was a danger, and he will be a danger again today.
Well, it's no surprise. It's known as America's finest city, the beautiful San Diego. We continue the build-up to kick off here. After the break, we'll take a closer look at Seattle and one of their star forwards, the man simply known as the Beast.
The Major League Rugby Championship Series on CBS Sports. The Major League Rugby Championship Series on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Guinness, made of more. By Tullamore Dew, the original triple blend Irish whiskey. And by X-Blades, official technical kit supplier of Major League Rugby.
Welcome back to San Diego. Now, we have talked at length about the Glendale Raptors, but this Seattle side are here for a reason, and one of those reasons is their defense.
That's right, Dan. The defense that they call the Seawolves, and they put players in the right position, always making sure the attack is covered, and that's what they do, and that's what's got them here.
A lot of people think this was a speculative move on behalf of number 11, Peter Tiberio, but when you have a great, staunch defense, you develop trust that someone's going to clean up your mistakes. That's why Peter Tiberio takes that chance, and that's why 7 points go on the side of the Seawolves scoreboard.
And Brian, taking those opportunities is one of the keys of the Seawolves today. Even off bad ball when it's bouncing around, Shalom Suniolo here just takes the opportunity, spins, breaks the tackle, and scores.
Great teams turn slow ball into fast ball and bad ball into good ball, and a little assist there to Suniula, but a nice move by the evergreen Shalom Suniula, inside center for the Seawolves.
And Brian, that assist came from none other than American Eric Duchel. He spent several years in the Air Force making sure Americans could live their dream. And today, he gets to live his very own dream playing professional rugby in the U.S.
My name is Eric Duchel. I play for the Seattle Seawolves, and I'm number 6 back row position. My experience in the Air Force, I did 10 years. Went to Afghanistan, I went to Iraq. My dad was in the Air Force, and he really inspired me to serve. I got to play a lot of rugby through the Air Force. I was on the World Class Athlete program and just various 7s, 15 programs. So they were able to support me in my dreams, and it was one of the best parts of being in the Air Force. Serving the Air Force and the military, that's always been a family tradition, family honor, and it was something I've always wanted to do, and I'm really, really proud that I could do that. Being able to serve your country as a rugby player, you have an opportunity to inspire people. They actually get to see what you do. They get to see your spirit on the field. They really get to see who you are. But when this professional league came up, I just had to jump on it. And so I left the Air Force, and now I'm full-time professional doing this. And it's just one dream rolling into the other, which is pretty cool. And I'm very grateful for that. So the difference between rugby and most American sports is it's nonstop. We're tackling the entire time. The intensity is really high, and it's like gladiators in the Colosseum in Rome, just fighting till the death or till a winner. It's really special because there's not many other sports that mimic that. It's a very primal, like, ancestral thing, and I think people are going to have a really strong connection to that. I got this nickname, Beast, back in 2012 by Peter Sia. He's a USA Eagle legend. He told me, like, the way I tackle, it's just a fierce intensity. And I really do try to channel that. We only have a limited amount of time of our youth to strengthen our body, And I want to play to inspire people in their lives, and that's my goal. Rugby has played a major role in my life. It's truly the only thing that inspires me to be the best version of myself. I took a long time to mature, made a lot of mistakes, partied a lot through my life, and I have no regrets, but rugby is a sport that when you are ready to step into it, it'll take you, because football, if you don't make it in college, you're not going to make it in the NFL. Similar with NBA and many other sports, but rugby, you can join your local club at 25 and you can be an Eagle by 30. You can become a professional now. So there's a lot of avenues, and just the way my life has gone, it's allowed me to mature to the point where I can actually play now. And I'm 32. So it was a long, long road, but the door was open, you know, and I'm grateful, very grateful for that.
And Brian, let's take a look at the rest of the Seawolves lineup today, brought to you by Virginia Mason.
Dan, a lot of good rugby coaches will tell you, if you're going to construct a team, start with a tight head prop. Number 3, Tim Metcher. He anchors that front row. Great engine room with Taylor, Crumry, and Polson. And then Riekert Hadding back at number 8 was fantastic last week. Good center pairing with Suniula and Rosaleka. They get better each week. And Matthew Turner at fullback is more dynamic than he was at the beginning of the year. This is going to be a tough team to beat.
And there is the hardware that both these sides will be chasing today. Do the Raptors add more silverware to the cabinet, or does the Seawolves Seawall rise to the occasion? We'll find out after this.
Our national anthem. Please welcome singing sensation, Arika Asano.
Can you believe there's one error on the Seattle lineup? Leg should have back to the bench. Starts at 7. I'll make the adjustment. We'll keep going. Number 7, Seattle. Back to the bench. Thomas Harwood will wear 7 and start.
Welcome back to Torero Stadium. Moments away from kickoff here. Glendale Raptors, Seattle Seawolves. They will battle the man in charge, Scott Green. He has the whistle from the United States. By the way of New Zealand, he will be assisted by Derek Summers from the USA and Adam Leal from the United Kingdom. Gentlemen, it's finally here, the championship game. Your final thoughts?
I think it's going to be super competitive out there, and I think the scrum of Seattle is going to have a lot to say about how this game goes, but there's also some dynamic players in the back, and one special player for me on Seattle, Peter Tiberio. He's always showing up in the right moment. He's going to do something dynamic. Could be on defense. Sometimes it is.
I think the way that the referees the breakdown is going to be key. Seattle have gone with big ball runners in Duchel and Hadding on the in the back row. And I think they're gonna struggle at the breakdown, but I think a lot of that's gonna be how Scott Green makes that call.
There is your crowd here at Torero Stadium, a very pro-Seattle crowd here today. It'll be Will McGee from the Glendale Raptors that gets us underway. Glendale on the right of your screen, Seattle receiving on the left. The 2018 Major League Rugby Championship is underway. And it will be Seattle through that man Tiberio, who fields it on his 22. They'll get first use of the ball here. A positive start is key for both of these sides as they look to assert their dominance. Seattle in the scrum and the set piece, as you both mentioned. Glendale in the line out. And this will be our first look at the line out here on the 40-meter line off Seattle as they clear from their 22.
So immediately, great defense by Glendale, defending those forward runners of Seattle. I think that's what they need to do. Kickoffs are important, but they've got a good attacking platform. Their line-out has been a strength so far this season, Dan.
No Casey Rock in the line-out. 6'11", the biggest player in Major League Rugby. Preferring that man with the ball in hand. Sam Figur's their main target in the line-outs. They come wide. Dahl gets an early touch. The speed at the back of the breakdown from Glendale, impressive. Good tackle on Quill, though, brings him down. That was Suniula. Now wide with London. Another big tackle coming in there from the replacement in Burt Combs. Brock Staller. It was a late scratching for the Seattle Seawolves. They've also made some changes to their starting lineup with Vili Tolitahu. You can see him there just to the left of the breakdown. He starts in the place of Aladdin Sherma. Sherma back to the bench. Now it's the Raptors with Crusade. Well, it's tough to say Rookie of the Year because it's everyone's first year, but he certainly has been one of the breakout stars, Brian.
Brilliant counter ruck there by Phil Mack.
And this is the problem teams have against the Seawolves. They retain possession, but they don't go anywhere. Glendale actually lost about 15 meters holding onto the ball for 6 spaces.
Positive net result off the kickoff. Glendale with good ball across the halfway line, got all the way to the 10-meter line, and then suddenly started going backwards. And this Seattle team, you mentioned their defense, Pete. They're happy to let you go through phases. Their game against Utah at home a couple months ago allowed 34 phases at one point before they ended up with a turnover. They're patient and they make their tackles.
Let's look at the keys to victory. Seattle today brought to you by X-Blades.
We mentioned the scrum. Tim Metcher has to come up big, as does the hooker Ray Barkwell and Olive Khalifi across the front. They got to create turnovers, which we just saw. And then the wing rotation across the field. The blindside winger needs to get involved. We'll see that in Peter Tiberio and the youngster Burt Combs in his first start in this postseason needs to come up huge for the Seawolves.
Barkwell on point with his first throw inside the 22 of the Raptors. The ball is set here from the Seawolves. You see the contest, well played here by the Raptors to stall the momentum, and the turnover comes away at the Glendale Raptors as well.
And this is the challenge if you have a driving maul. If the ball does not come back, you lose it. And you can see right here, a bunch of players spun off, and then there was a fight because one of the Seattle players was being held in, but because they were able to prevent the drive going forward, it ended up with a turnover.
That was actually rugby speak for please let go of my arm. And that was expressed, I think, pretty well by Tim Metcher to Sam Fig wearing the number 8 for Glendale.
2 Aussies going at it early on in this game. first scrum, it's going to be really, really telling to see what Glendale do. Tough scrum for them to win here and be able to do something.
Well, Seattle's cornerstone has been the scrum. Glendale, though, no slouches. They do have a younger, more inexperienced front row, Pete.
And when the scrum goes down, this is actually the props kind of working each other out. And so what they'll do is if they feel like they didn't get good position, the prop that didn't get good position early on will go down because he knows the referee isn't going to call it the first scrum.
And he's asked Derek Summers, the assistant ref, to take a look at that far side of the scrum. And Scott Green's going to take a look at this one.
5, 6.
Good platform there as the Raptors through Campbell. Under an injury cloud all week, Campbell. Big game for the USA centre. No surprise that he makes himself available here today. Tiberio, little juggle as he fields that back on his own 40. Now Turner weighs up his options before he goes high into the air. Looking to use this sun to his advantage here.
Yeah, leave it now.
We mentioned Peter Tiberio. That was a great kick chase.
Use.
Now Davies back to his right. And again, this Seattle defense holding true early on.
Use the ball.
Glendale will just be looking to clear here with Sean Davies, just trying to get the ball out, gain a little bit of ground and use their strong defensive line out to get the ball back.
That's exactly what happens. Peter Steinberg as he box kicks that to the side. You talk about Glendale. How do they get it done today as we take a look at their keys brought to you by Tullamore Dew?
So they need to attack with speed and width because that's how you stretch the seawall, and they've got to defend the forward runners who go forward, particularly Duchel and Hadding, and they have to be able to execute their line-out drive. Now, they haven't had an attacking line-out yet, Brian, but they've defended the drive very well, which is what we would expect.
Again, well taken in the air there by Paulson, the Canadian. And Toli Tahu, his first touch of the game. Up into the 40. And Mack, not surprisingly, straight into the referee, almost wanting to pack a scrum here, Phil Mack.
Yeah, and what happens is that if the referee puts himself in that passing channel and it goes into his chest and becomes unplayable, then he's going to go to a scrum here to the attacking team, and that's why the scrum.
And, you know, I think you're right, Dan. I think for Seattle, they would like the scrum in the middle of the field, Brian. It puts the pressure on the back three rotation that you talked about before, because you can kick or you can run, and you can see you've got Matt Turner directly behind the scrum, and you've got Peter Smith behind him. They're doing something here. We're just not sure where.
Yeah, Turner is a better attacking threat with ball in hand, and that's why he's playing the 10 right now.
Thank you.
Mack, he just kicks that one through. Archibald returns fire back to his own 40-metre line. Smith with a drop goal. He doesn't hit it well. The fly half for the Seawolves. That could be a little handling error there. Referee Green lets it play. The crowd.
Good. Play on.
They got to their feet there, the Seawolves fan. They thought there was a little fumble at the back from the Raptors. Davies again with the box kick.
So Seattle are playing the game they want to play, Brian. They're playing territory. Glendale cannot break through this seawall, and they cannot clear their lines.
You want to learn more about the line-out? Stacey Pates has got it for you, and she'll show you coming up here in the first half. We'll take a look at some of the great stuff she did leading up to this game with the USA women's side. But now it's Barkwell.
Third throw for Barkwell. Last time they tried to drive it and were held up, and Glendale effectively with the turnover there. See if they go a different option here. Good attacking platform out wide.
Paulson again the target. Smith, midfield, flat ball. Rusalika. He will be a threat in the 13 jersey all day, as will this man, Ricard Hatting. What a difference he makes to the Seattle side. Turner finds his winger. Now a little bit of argy-bargy in backfield with Turner and Quill. No surprise, John Quill, the Irishman, he loves to skate very, very close to the line.
So if you remember back with Stacey's piece during our opening segments, she talked about the penalties that can happen at the ruck. And right here, we're not rolling away. It's the first thing that has to happen is the tackler, after they tackle, have to roll away, and John Quill didn't do that. And very quickly, Scott Green is saying that's something that he's looking for.
Normally this kicking duties throughout the season fell on the shoulders of Brock Stoller, not available today due to a bit of a head knock and precautionary measures. And really, I like to see the conservative approach to keep him out. Peter Smith has been teeing him up, and he's solid for the first points from Seattle.
There it is, 3 points to 0. The Seawolves on the board first. They take an early lead over the Raptors.
And Seattle needed that. They've had almost 10 minutes of pressure in their half, and they've got to get points. It was the problem that they had against Glendale when they played them 2 weeks ago, was not being able to turn those pressure into points.
McGee restarts for the Raptors. Hunting underneath this one outside his 22. Fields it well. Forward. Another handling error comes in against the Glendale Raptors at the breakdown. It'll be a scrum for Seattle outside their 22.
Almost a turnover there by Glendale, but lost it forward. And we talked about the back row composition of the Seawolves, how they've gone with runners, and they've left Shermer, who's really good grafter. He does all the hard work at the tackle contest. And turnovers were a problem with this back row last week. And I think that's the reason why Peter Dahl is in the back row for Glendale.
Well, how about the battle at the back row here, Brian? You've got Peter Dahl, John Quill, Sam Figg, all international players taking on Tolitahu, Duchel, and Hutting.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 international players there as well. It's a great matchup between the numbers 6, 7, and 8 on both sides.
Good scrum here for Seattle. As they march forward, Hutting off the back. Turned over here by the Raptors again. This time they secure possession and secure a penalty. Decision time coming here for Will McGee, whether he goes for the equalizer or they continue to put on the pressure.
And guys, I don't think that the Seattle scrum knew that Riekert Hatting was going to take that off the back and go blind with it. There wasn't anybody there to support him. Glendale there quickly on their feet, and the turnover. Watch, Riekert is isolated here, and that's Sam Figg doing a great job off the back.
Absolutely, the wheel went the wrong way for him to be able to get the ball. So you're right, absolutely right, Brian. Wrong decision by Hatting there, and that's why he was isolated. Great attacking platform, and the flanker is in the scrum half spot, so they'll be driving this.
Benolio's throw on point to Quill. You are absolutely right, Pete Steinberg. The drive is set here for the Raptors. They continue to go forward. Look for Fenolio at the back. No advantage.
Six, pulling down.
Pulling down that maul. It'll be a penalty here for the Raptors. And again, decision time.
I think they go for the line out again. Get it 5 meters in the line, Brian. We know that they're good. You talked about that in the opening segment. And here's a chance for them to really get over and show their dominance of the opposition pack.
Well, and this could be a carbon copy of our highlight from the open. Watch number 5, Ben Landry. He's normally the target, and then he'll start directing traffic from the front. He's the tip of the spear when it comes to this driving maul. And number 6, Pete Dahl in the scrum half position.
They find Quill at the back. The ball is set though.
Don't swim one, don't swim.
Going backwards is the Glendale ball. Now the momentum gets with the Raptors as they continue to push forward to the line. There's the opening try of the championship game. It's the Glendale Raptors.
So that was a really remarkable line-out drive because, Brian, Seattle stopped it and they were pushing them back, but they reset even once the maul had gone down and they sheared off to the side. Really remarkable work.
You could hear the referee saying to swim to number 1, and it was Cam Polson who backed away from the maul. So sometimes you get it in your mind that you don't want to be called for another penalty for bringing the maul down and suddenly players start retreating when they should be driving. Very confusing stuff, and that's why a good driving maul so effective by the Glendale Raptors.
And it's also why the referee calls the number. He said, number 1, get back. That's the only person that needs to go back. But multiple Seattle players went back, and they lost that momentum.
It looked like they've credited Zach Fenoglio with that one. Not surprised. He's usually at the back of those mauls directing traffic. Now the fly half, Will McGee, to extend with this conversion.
Yeah, looks good, boys.
Flags go up, 7 points to 3, 13.5 minutes in the books.
And there'll be no panic on the part of these Seawolves. Lots of experience throughout the team, and I think they just need to go back to where they were in the first few minutes of this contest, which is territory.
Well, the efficiency of Glendale, they got down there the first time and they came away with 7 points. I think that's one of the reasons why they're the best team in the league.
Tap back by the Seawolves on the restart now. Mac spots a little hole. He's opposite number Davey, shuts him down just outside the 22, but there's an opportunity here for Seattle to the right. Pass from Suniula. Doesn't go to hand there, Barkwell. At a standing start is met by the Raptors defense.
Slow ball here, so Glendale will be looking to put 2 players on the runner and drive them back.
Do just that, Fenoglio low, Rogers high. Now Smith down the blind side, Barkwell. Looks to straighten the attack there. Khalifi with another touch. Well met by Quill. Smith down this blind side, Barkwell. Glendale's defense up to the task early on here. Hutty, hard under his line. And he spills that one. Here goes Crusade. This is where he's at his most dangerous. Watch the Raptors here. One of the best sides at turning defense into attack. That man, McGee, lofts a long floated pass out to Fig. Now there's an opportunity. Pass behind Davidson, though. And the referee, Scott Green, has picked up a slight knock-on.
That was a great hit by Rosaleka. Just patient, waiting for Sam Fig to dish the ball, but Fig never does and ends up getting clobbered for that decision.
Yeah, if I'm the coach, I'm really frustrated here. If I'm Dave Williams, because turnover ball is a great opportunity to be able to move that ball wide, and they've broken the wall, but he needs to move it now. And he's just a little bit too late. Kept that ball in one hand, Brian. The old classic coaching. Keep that ball in 2 hands. Your passes will be better.
Not only that, but one of the best finishers in the MLR. Second best, actually, in the league. Harley Davidson waiting for the ball on the wing, but doesn't get it.
Now Seattle will have this scrum on the 40-meter line at the Raptors. Down 7 points to 3 early on here in the first half.
So one of the interesting things about the Seattle scrum is the constant pressure that they had. San Diego last week was able to hold them for 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds, but then they gave up, and that's going to be the challenge here. If I'm Seattle, if I'm Ray Barker, I'm saying we're keeping this ball in, Brian. We're going to pressure them. We're going to drive them and see if we can get a penalty.
I like the battle going on between Blake Rogers wearing the #1 jersey for Glendale and Tim Metcher. We mentioned the tight head prop wearing 3. Watch his elbow, the taped up elbow. That's got to stay up. The referee's looking to see if that takes a dive down and if he's pulling the scrum down. And that time, it's the efforts of Olive Khalifi on the other side, though.
Now Rosaleka off the back of that free kick, charges into the line for the Seawolves. Mack weighs up his option left, comes back to Metcher on the right-hand side. You want to talk about the best scrummager, Tim Metcher. He's put his hand up for that title. Now Barkwell. The battle between Barkwell and Fenoglio will be one to watch throughout this game. Clash many times, USA versus Canada. They run into each other yet again here in the MLR, and now another penalty.
Must clear that back area.
And you can see Smith already taking off the scrum cap. Probably 3 points on the table here for him.
Absolutely. So again, Scott Green being very consistent, saying the tackler must get away. So the tackler got to the side, but didn't completely roll away, and that's what he called. And I think one of the interesting things that we're seeing is Ray Barkwell, Brian, staying on the blind side for Seattle. They haven't yet moved the ball across the field. They keep coming back to the blind side, looking to generate some go forward there.
Well, not only that, they're going to that blind side, Pete, because they want to drag some defenders from the Glendale Raptors over to create space in the midfield. The problem is they're not structuring a scaffolded attack when they get ball out wide. So when it's easy to tell who the next receiver is, it's easy to defend. They got to do a better job of deception.
No good on the penalty. Score remains 7 points to 3. We'll come back to the 22-meter line for the restart. And you just wondered, gentlemen, if the Seawolves saw something in the film of the San Diego Legion Glendale Raptors game, only loss of the year for the Raptors, that interests them enough to run that system they're running today.
Well, it takes you away from the strong defenders in the middle of the field, and they're trying to get Oli Khalifi in the middle to generate go forward, but Glendale have shut him down so far.
Great deep restart there from McGee. Smith dishes off to Tolitahu. Young firebrand. The smiling assassin, as he's been dubbed. He charges back into the line, as does Metcha. Now Mack at the back. Tuniula, Turner. Duchel under pressure, can't handle. And now the turnover for the Raptors. No, we'll come back and play the knock-on. Looks like it's been called in from the sideline there.
Yeah, I think so, but really, really good defense there by Glendale. Seattle finally moved it across the field, but they communicated, and they ended up having 2 players on Rasalika for that tackle.
Well, and for me, the first sign that that scaffolded attack that we're talking about, finally a forward comes through on a line that looked a little more dangerous, and then the ball goes wide. So they're trying to make use of this space, but give credit to Glendale Raptors. Sam Figg has been great in defense, very organized.
Crouch. Bind. 6.
Good ball to back here for Mack. Finds Smith. Smith with runners inside out. Finds Bert Coombs.
Hands off.
Another penalty comes away after Seawolves. Well, these indiscretions at the breakdown are hurting Glendale here, Pete.
Absolutely, and John Quill, that's the second one against him, and Scott Green's being really clear. He says hands off, right? And we saw that as well with Stacey's segment in the opening about the law. You have to relieve. You have to let go of that ball.
And they'll go to the line out here for more on the line out. Our very own Stacey Pates with some of the USA women's rugby players.
I need your arriving players to be clearly on the feet if they're going to go for the ball. Clearly on their feet for me, that's what I need. Blue.
The line out is a restart to the match. Abby Gustitis, how do you win the ball?
So you have your lifters, jumper, and your thrower. She's going to throw the ball straight, and the timing of the lift with the catch is how you win the ball on the line out.
And just like Stacey Page showed, the line-out was successful there for the Seawolves. As they earn another penalty here down near the try line.
6.
I wouldn't be surprised to see if they elect for the scrum in this situation.
Kicking the ball out 6.
And I think that a little bit messy here by Seattle. They won the ball, but they're not quite as structured as Glendale. And Glendale on defense were able to turn them. And as soon as you start turning the ball and the hips stop going forward, it becomes very difficult to generate that go forward momentum. And that's why you can see the ball turn and the ball has to be played.
Sounded like Scott Green, the ref, talking to Peter Dahl about kicking the ball out of the ruck. Peter Dahl's played most of his career without that law. You used to be able to boot that ball through the back of the ruck. That changed about a year ago, Dan, and now it's a penalty.
Barkwell finds Paulson. This looks very familiar to the other end of the field. It's now Seattle look to return the favour to the Raptors here with their own maul. Barkwell to back. Barkwell spins away, close to the line, reaches out, he's over! There's the try for the Seawolves. They take the lead, 8 points to 7, kick to come.
Great response by Ray Barkwell. Anything you can do, I can do better, says Barkwell to his counterpart, Fanolio.
And I think there was really, really nice play here by Seattle, because what you'll see is Glendale trying to turn the ball. You can see them turning it so it comes to the blind side, so it opens up the ball, so players like Quill can come in, and you can see Fenolio, but real patience to be able to hold on to that ball, and then for Barkwell to use his experience and get over the line.
And Barkwell had to do a little bit of that on his own. Great pressure from the Glendale Raptors in the maul, driving it back, then driving it sideways, and Barkwell knows, he's been there before, when it's about to break up, and he just spins off the back and finds a little bit of green, just enough to get over that line. A great individual effort by Ray Barkwell to finish.
And it's the body height in contact, the lower body height is the one that wins.
Conversion unsuccessful. 23 minutes in the books here at Seattle. In the lead, 8 points to 7. It's everything we expected and more. We'll take a short break. When we return, the first half continues.
Is a safe, fun, and positive way for young girls to fall in love with the sport they love, rugby. Girls Rugby courses registration is currently open in San Diego and in Portland, and it's for any girl wanting to give rugby a try. No experience needed to play, and you're all welcome. Learn more about Raptors. We don't score that try. And more getting involved by visiting the Girls Rugby website at girlsrugby.com. And you can also follow Girls Rugby on Instagram and Facebook and hashtag YouGoGo.
Okay, cool. Okay. Anything you want to add? We're good?
Yeah, mate.
Yep.
Need some fringes to get free when they're under pressure.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. It's fine, mate. You've got to keep Glendale honest in the tackle.
It's 8-7 right now, just 24 minutes into this championship game. And as you can see, the sun coming this direction right now. The clear blue skies are beautiful, but the sun heading this direction will be a big challenge to the guys on the receiving end. But there's a smell of championship in the air.
Oh, there certainly is, Stacey Page. Both these sides, they know what it means to be crowned the inaugural Major League Rugby champion.
At the back of it, yeah, clear it out.
Tooth and nail to the very end.
If you want to have a crack
This one,
ball,
a tight one, just 1 point separates the sides here.
Dan, great crowd here
okay. I understand that
at Torero Stadium to watch this final. Lots of fans have traveled from Seattle, from Glendale, the greater Denver area, to watch the teams play.
Good.
And McGee gets us restarted here in the first half. Finds Ricard Hutting yet again as Hutting, here he is, full of running, the number 8, as he goes up to the 40-meter line. What a difference Ricard Hutting has made to this Seattle attack since his return from injury. Now Russellika. He runs into a brick wall in Sanford.
That's a turnover to Blue.
And he turns it over. Great work there from the number 8. Both number 8s getting it done here. Campbell, strong run up to the 40-meter line for Bryce Campbell. Davies to his right, Fig again with another touch. Well, he's looking to continue the form that got him the player of the match last week against Utah is Sam Fig. Now Giarchibald comes wide. London to Quill. Quill, great pass to Dahl. Dahl, here's the finisher in Davidson. Under pressure this time, Dahl. He's taken low. Referee Green spots a slight handling error. A little bit of frustration starting to sneak in here to the Raptors, and you can see that as John Quill introduces himself to some of the Seattle forwards.
Well, the challenge you have against Seattle's defense is you think that the ball, that they're spaced wide, so you move it there, but they actually just end up drifting out there. And Peter Dahl did a great job of actually engaging with the defense, which is what you have to do against the drift defense, and then handling it off to Harley Davidson, and just a shoestring tackle that brought him down.
For me, if I'm Ricard Hutting, I'm going to have a talk to my teammates. Where were you when I made that break?
And he showed that last week Brian, so it's not like it's new. From the kickoff last week, he's such a strong runner. You've got to have supporters. Where's the work of the wing? Tiberio on his shoulder, and that's a try.
You don't want to be in a situation where you look like you're surprised that one of your teammates has a line break.
Ricard Hadding, a native of South Africa, played for the Blue Bulls down there. He is built like a railway sleeper. Oh, great ball, Tiberio. That's what they want, those support lines with Wasalika. Now with Mac, he needs support as well. The Raptors, they swarm. Tolitahu, the pick and go is strong from him. Now Mac wants quick ball. He's got Smith to his right, little kick through. Well, look at the experience of McGee and Crusay. And now McGee with a little opportunity down this short side as he clears well over the halfway line. That's great work from Will McGee.
That was great work, but I have to wonder about the decision of Phil Mack. You generate all that go forward, you're on the front foot, the defense is scrambling, and you make that kick. I think that's something you've got to keep in your hands and let your teammates do good things.
Yeah, you can see the expression on Phil Mack. He's slapping his own thigh, and he knows that he wish he could have that one back.
Here's Barkle right on the halfway line here with this throw to Paulson under pressure from O'Neill. Great ball, flat pass from Mack. They go wide to O'Neill inside. Burke Combs, he's in some space now. He links with Turner. Turner straightens the attack. Turner goes for the corner. You won't catch Matt Turner. There's the second try for Seattle.
And Brian, you talked about one of the keys was the work rate of the back three, and you saw that. Burke Combs, the weak side winger, coming across that inside play, some dummy runners in those two lines of attack, and a beautifully constructed play.
Mark, have you got me?
We talked about this young man stepping up, Sequoia Burke Combs from the University of Michigan, a Wolverine, and the pass back inside, a set move. And just didn't draw enough support across the field, and links up with Matt Turner. And Turner, one of the best finishers in the MLR, dots one down for the Seawolves.
Oh, I think that we might have the referees just stopping this because he wants to have a look and make sure. I think there was probably no obstruction.
Green 7 obstructing blue 6.
And there you hear referee Scott Green looking for green 7. That's Tolitahu obstructing Peter Dahl in his attempt to make the tackle. It was a big hole for Burke Combs to run through.
So you can be in front of the ball, Dan, but you cannot prevent a player from going to make the tackle.
No try. Cruelty.
No try.
From Scott Green, and in the form of the TMO, television match official, an obstruction call. In essence, it's blocking.
Captain.
Referee's just going to have a word. Let's listen in.
So what we have a clear obstruction by 7 green taking out 6 blue.
Keep your eyes on the afro of Vili Tolitamu and see if he obstructs a defender here.
Back you go.
Yes, he does, because great call by the match official, because actually, Burke Combs, that was Peter Dahl's player. You can see that that's Peter Dahl's player, that he's trying to get into that space.
He actually,
really great call.
He obstructs 2 players, actually. He starts with Dahl, and then he gets his body in front of John Quill as well. So if you get paid by the obstruction, he would have earned double. Well, unfortunate. It was a great move by the Seawolves, but perhaps that was the reason.
So what you coach is you coach for your players to run those lines, but you actually coach them not to get in the way, not to obviously get in the way. All you want to do is slow the defenders down.
Here's your mark, Ollie.
You don't want to block
Just
them.
come out. Yep. Hold.
Just like that, it's an 80-meter swing, as now the Raptors have the ball inside the 22 of Seattle. And they go back to the maul. They've tasted success with it already once today.
They do such a good job of keeping all the hits going forward, regardless of what happens.
Benolio one-on-one with Barkle. Back to Davidson. Harley Davidson over. There was a distinct stop in play from Seattle. We have timeout here.
The back time is off.
We will go up to the TMO. Well, the TMO getting overtime here, 2 in a row.
Okay, no try.
Great work here by Harley Davidson. You don't expect a wing to be able to come in and support, but you'll see Fenolio breaks off as the maul breaks down, he sees some space coming to the right. He can see there's no more defenders, that comes around, and then watch Harley Davidson come in on support, gets that ball. Now the question, Brian, is does he get the grounding?
Yeah, apparently not, wrapped up by Phil Mack.
Hey, here we go. Hey.
And a knock on. So scrum to Seattle. Johnny on the spot. Phil Mack right there, preventing the 5-pointer.
Well, maybe the Seawolves look back at that desperate moment there from Mack after 80 minutes. It's the point that gets them the win here. Seattle will run this from out of their own end.
Yeah.
Smith in the pocket. Waits. Under pressure. Won't find the line here. The counter comes first with Davidson. Now Diarchibald.
Continue work rate of Peter Tiberio slides off the wing and gets onto the fullback in one movement.
Now McGee, numbers here for the Raptors. McGee dances his way back in field though. Now Davies down the blind side. Great tackle there, comes in on Campbell. Now Landry. Such a big dynamic runner has been Landry. Glendale will want to get the ball in his hands a little more here. Oh, big tackle comes in. Suniula on Diarchibald. Now London. He goes forward up towards the 22 of the Seawolves. Down the blind side, Davies with a little run.
Just all a little bit too slow here for Glendale. It allows the Seawolf to launch and apply pressure.
Well, great catch there from Fig.
Stay out, Green.
Looking more at home at second slip there with that great piece of handwork. Landry, little juggle. He goes forward. Tony Tahu is able to bring him down. And this is the benefit you're seeing here of having this defensive structure called the sea wall. Glendale going side to side, but never forward.
And how rare have we seen Glendale running out of options off the base? And it's normally Sean Davies who has such quick ball at the bottom of that ruck. But Glendale has been slowed down at the base, Pete, and it's slowing down the delivery of their number 9.
Absolutely, and when they played Seattle 2 weeks ago, it was the pass back inside that was really important for them. But you're right, they're slowing it down so they can't even build that structure. Great defense by the Seawolves.
Well contested, eventually won by the Seawolves. Slow ball here is Phil Mack, very patient at the back. Will pick up Khalifi. You see Seattle setting this platform with their forwards. The quick ball, Mack down the blind side, intercepted very close. It looked like Fafita there, lurking on the blind side, almost picked up that ball. Will come back for the knock-on.
And because he was actually trying to make a catch, it's not a deliberate knock-on. So when the ball comes off and he really well read here, you can see he puts his arm out and he tries to catch it. That's why it's only a scrum. Otherwise, it's a knock-on.
Yeah, and when it's a penalty, the referee, normally the standard they'll set is, was it a ball that could have been caught? If that's okay, then it's just a knock-on.
Well, we saw last week in the semi-final, Pete, when Tony Lambourne went off for San Diego, the momentum churned.
Give you a minute, mate. We'll come check. Yep.
And now John Quill down with an injury. That would be a big loss with Raptors. Let's have a look at some more of the stuff that Stacey Pates has done with the USA women's players.
The scrum is a critical set piece, and it starts with the front row. Tell us why, Hope Rogers.
It's very important because our tight head prop and our loose head prop are the most powerful players in the field. They're going to get the scrum driving forward. And then we have our hooker. Well, you're the hooker just because you hook the ball back when the scrum half rolls it in.
Good job, Stacey. Thank you. Yes.
We may lose Stacey Pates next year. I think she's got some talent there.
Well, you know, I worked with her when we did those videos with the Eagles, and Stacey had some natural body position. Like, she got low very easily. She was able to keep her head up and keep her flat back. I mean, you know, she might be a front row player in disguise.
Down. Time's on.
Let's go.
Brian, here we are 30 minutes in, and the tackles are 34 tackles each. So this is a very, very even game.
in our pregame talk, we were talking. One of the possibilities, Pete, was that this would be a low-scoring affair, and all credit to both defenses. They've also given up a few chances on either side to make some points out of opportunities. So very tight.
Well, Brian, who do you favor in a tight game? Is it the experience of Glendale or the defense of Seattle?
Well, it's hard to call. You know, this is the type of game, Dan, where a player has some sort of shining moment. They step up, they do something magical, and there's a lot of players on the field capable of that kind of moment, and sometimes that's the way it'll swing.
But it's also a game that comes down to kicking. So Peter Smith has already missed 2. He's the third kicker in line after Brock Staller and
Will Holder.
Thank you, Dan. I lost it there for a moment. Will Holder. And so that might be a big one. But the interesting thing about this scrum is that Glendale are actually controlling this scrum. They're getting the left shoulder up, a left wheel, which is reducing the attacking options of Seattle. Better scrum from Seattle that time.
Well, that could be a penalty there. Looked like Davies went quick. Ball was out, says referee Green. Maybe some gamesmanship from the Seawolves that goes the wrong way, and now Landry on the attack. And if you're Seattle, you don't want to give the Raptors too many opportunities. Eventually they will click. Just such a classy outfit. It's Diachable. He's tackled midfield.
Thank you.
Counter ruck from Tolata, who comes in to disrupt. Now Fig. Can't get away from the beast, Duchel.
Stay back.
O'Neill steps into the big shoes of Casey Rock. Coaching staff very confident that young O'Neill can get the job done as Tiberio Fieldsatin, he's 22, elects not to call the mark. And now under pressure.
That was the wrong kick by McGee. There was no one in the middle of the field, but he went for the cross kick.
And no communication to the wing either. So no one was coming up to chase the kick.
Again under pressure, looks for the sideline, finds sanctuary in the grandstands here at Torero Stadium. It'll be a line out though for the Raptors inside the 40.
And I think Glendale will be happy with that because in general play, Brian, they haven't had a solution to the seawall. The contest by, you know, you look at Tilly Taru right there, slowed the ball down, allows the wall to be built, and they just can't, they don't have a solution for it right now. So the first phase attack has been their best strategy so far.
Well, and we see the short line out, a couple of forwards out in the back line for Glendale, and this is that layered attack that we saw that set up the score last week.
Will secures the line as they come flat to McGee. McGee across to Dahl with a flat pass. Dahl still going, was held. I was just about to say, incredible the resilience and the durability of Peter
And here
Dahl.
goes Phil Mack. Great tackle by Dodge.
And that's the danger you talked about, Pete Steinberg. The quick taps of Phil Mack. He will play exactly what he sees in front of him at all times.
And the problem there, though, that Phil Mack is the only one going quickly. And once again, a line break squandered.
Unlucky call there against Peter Dow. He's called for a high tackle. Anything above the shoulder, Brian, they now call. And actually, I think it was Crumrye that actually dipped down, but you just can't put your arm around the shoulder like that.
Take a look.
Here you see that high tackle, Brian.
Yeah, and that's a good call. Anything that comes up above the shoulders is going to get called.
And we talked about the penalty problem of Glendale throughout the season, and again, a penalty in the middle of the field has set a great attacking platform for Seattle.
Carbon copy, the territory last try by the Seawolves when Ray Barkwell found a little bit of pay dirt. We'll see what the option is here.
Well, they're going to drive because Billy Tilataru is out.
Tahu will run. They look for the set piece at the line out there. It comes undone. Now they go wide. Suniula looking for the offload. That one backwards. Now Mack continues the same way. First with Paulson. The big Canadian isolated out there. Needs some help. Needs to get himself to ground. And that'll be a turnover as Seattle couldn't get that ball to ground quick enough, Pete.
So they will, the defenders will hold up, and I think that was Zach Fenoglio, will hold it up, and as soon as the referee shouts maul, that means when the ball goes to ground, there are no ruck rules, so you don't have to roll away, you don't have to release. And so actually, what you'll see is Fenoglio will come in, and he'll get his hands on it, and as soon as he hears maul, from the referee. He actually brings it down, and then he just lies on the ball. He doesn't have to roll away.
And just lazy running there by Cam Polson. You got to drop your body height down, and you got to use your shoulders to leverage up into the tackler. That time he runs too high. That's why he gets held up.
That's a big turnover for the Raptors as well. They'll have this scrum in the 22. Look for Fig off the back.
And if I'm the scrum for Seattle right now, I look at this as an attacking scrum.
Big for Fafita.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Brian. Big push from the Seawolves as Campbell.
Hands away.
He's able to get that ball up towards the 22. Now back to McGee. Goes to his trusty right boot to clear. Tiberio positioned perfectly. Now Turner goes high, the chase from his wingers in Tiberio. And great tackle there from the number 11 for the Seawolves.
Great work by Glendale to be able to win that. There were 3 Seawolves driving in, and they were able to get that ball back.
There's a battle going on right now between Phil Mack and Sean Davies, 2 irascible scrum halves.
Yeah, big numbers to the left here if they can go. Campbell shifts wide. Here's London. Crusade. Danger man in space, Crusade. The Seawolves identify that. They wrap him up, and that one over the sideline on the 40.
But I think that actually came off Rasalika. I think Crusade threw it in, and it bounced back off Rasalika, so it's a line out to Glendale.
Blue ball, so he threw it back in, and it bounced off a green player into touch. So
Okay, blue ball.
This battle between the 2 number 9s. And Pete Steinberg, you're no stranger to having a little bit of a battle there at the back. Look at Davies dragging Mack out of the way. It's been a great battle. Get out of my territory, he says.
You know, there are a few positions in the game of rugby where you're actually one-on-one for the whole game, and scrum half is one of them. You see the other scrum half the whole game.
And it's a position where you have to have a Napoleon complex to play it.
I was going to say, it looked like a couple of chihuahuas in handbags at Beverly Hills going at each other there. As Turner goes high. Now Tiberio under pressure, throws it down. Does well there, Tiberio, just to buy some time. Duchel with the loose carry though. And now Davies. Davies looking to show that his bite's as big as his bark. Offload though, doesn't go to hand. It'll be a line out on the 22 for Seattle.
And Seattle's lucky there because transition attack from Glendale, it's one of the things that they do best. And they cough the ball up there. Duchel in the tackle, gives it away to Davies. And then he's just looking for an overlap somewhere and almost finds it out the back door.
Great play by Tiberio to create the space for Duchel, but just very lazy, too easy that turnover. And Sean Davies has the pace of a winger. He showed that last week when he managed to go 60 meters to score and no one could catch him. So you're right, Brian, really, really dangerous. But I think he thought he had the advantage from the knock on. And so I think that's why he went for the glory play and the back behind the back pass. But Scott Green said, no, you already had the advantage by going forward.
40 on the clock and Phil Mack boots it out.
Everything we expected, folks. It's tight here at Torero Stadium. 8 points to 7 at the halftime break. It's the Seawolves in the lead over the Raptors. And gentlemen, this is exactly what we expected coming in. 2 sides showing their steel and reserve in defense.
That's right. I mean, this is championship rugby. I mean, I think the defense of everything that happened in the MLR that was good. The one thing you might say is that some of the team's defense wasn't great, but here we are, 8-7, and a huge amount of effort happening in the forwards. And it's a very hot day, and I think it's going to be about the reserves and who comes off the bench, Brian.
We'll take a break. When we return, we'll have all the action from the first half, the highlights, the interviews, and everything else from Torero Stadium. It's 8 points to 7 at the break. It's the Seawolves over the Glendale Raptors.
Glendale head coach Dave Williams talk about what you need to address at halftime.
Oh, we just gave away too many penalties. We gave them too much field territory after that, so every penalty we give them, they kick to the corner or they got opportunity to kick 3 points. So if we tighten up that area, and then too many loose passes, like Figgy had one when we had a wide space Sean just threw one out there. So we still need to protect the ball a little bit more and then get a little bit tighter and go through the middle a little bit more before we go wide.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thanks.
It is time for the halftime challenge. Two fans have been selected for a chance to compete. Each contestant will get 3 shots at posts. The person with the most conversions walks away with a great pair of knock-around sunglasses. Tonight, we have Oren in black and Desire in green. Let's see what it's like. Pressure's on. Making a little harder, moving backwards.
Welcome back to Torero Stadium. It's a tight one, 8 points to 7. The Seawolves in the lead. We're going to go down onto the field with Stacey Pates and Glendale head coach Dave Williams.
Glendale head coach Dave Williams, talk about what you need to address at halftime.
Oh, we just gave away too many penalties. We gave them too much field territory after that, so every penalty we give them, they kick to the corner or they got opportunity to kick 3 points. So if we tighten up that area, and then too many loose passes, like Figgy had one when we had a wide space, Sean just threw one out there. So we still need to protect the ball a little bit more and then get a little bit tighter and go through the middle a little bit more before we go wide.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thanks.
There's Dave Williams. He talked about penalties and 3 points. That's what got the scoring started here at Torero Stadium. It was Pete Smith off the tee for 3.
But it was a great response by Glendale. They were under pressure for about 10 minutes and they couldn't get out of their half. But when they did, they got a great line out. And watch this patience with this line out drive. Zach Fenolio at the back, a little shove by Glendale, a little sheer off to the side, really tight, everyone pointing in the same direction, and Fenolio gets over the line.
And then the Seawolves, they answer back. The old salty dog wearing the number 2, Ray Barkwell at the back, and he matches the performance of Fenolio. Pete, sometimes high-pressure games, you stay with the forwards, you keep things tight because you're too nervous to send it wide, and that's so far been the story of this game. Looking for it to open up in the second half.
Well, Tuesday night at 7 Eastern, the ladies of We Need to Talk dive deep into physical limitations and incredible comebacks in sports as they tell the story of a 14-year-old swimmer and double amputee, Haven Shepherd. They also sit down with former NFL running back and Paralympic hopeful Isaiah Peed on CBS Sports Network. We're going to take a break. When we return, the build-up to the second half continues. From Torero Stadium, it's a tight one. 8 points to 7. It's the Seawolves over the Raptors at the break.
Loose head prop from the Houston SaberCats, Paul Mullen.
Welcome back to Torero Stadium as the fans are enjoying the action here. 2018, a hallmark year for rugby in America, with the bona fide highlight being the Major League Rugby Championship and the first 15, which was named this week by Major League Rugby, is with our very own Stacey Pates, and the announcement right now.
Loose head prop from the Houston SaberCats, Paul Mullen. Hooker, Glendale Raptors, Zach Fenolio. Tight head prop from Seattle Seawolves, Tim Metcher. Left lock, representing Austin Elite, Ben Mitchell. Right lock, the Glendale Raptors, Ben Landry. Blindside flanker, Seattle Seawolves, Vili Tulutau. Open side flanker, Austin Elite, Hanko Hermeses. Number 8, from the San Diego Legion, Cam Dolan. Scrum half, Seattle Seawolves, Phil Mack. Fly half from the Houston SaberCats, Sam Windsor. Blindside wing, representing Utah Warriors, Tanada Loudy. Inside center, Utah Warriors, Paul Lasike. Outside center, San Diego Legion, Ryan Mattias. Open side wing, Glendale Raptors, Harley Davidson. Fullback, Seattle Seawolves, Matt Turner.
There is the first 15 for 2018 as the sun sets over the beaches of San Diego as it sets on the season here. 40 minutes left to play. 8-7, Seawolves in the lead.
Into this local game, Mr. Mark Richards to sing God Bless America.
One, two, three, 4, 5. Hello, hello, hello. We're the near side microphone. No, not.
Race 6 from Flemington results. Have you got those?
Championship Rugby.
Seattle Wizard.
Welcome back to San Diego and Torero Stadium. Second half kickoff, moments away, 8 points to 7. And Pete Steinberg, as the scoreboard indicates, a very tight match here.
Absolutely. I mean, it's 43 tackles to Glendale to 45 to Seattle. But Seattle have the edge in possession and Glendale have the edge in territory.
We heard Davey Williams talk about cleaning up mistakes. 8 turnovers for the Raptors in the first half and 7 penalties given away compared to 3 for the Seawolves. So a little more discipline from the most heavily penalized team in the MLR.
40 minutes left of 2018. We are underway with the Seawolves. They kick down to Ben Landry and his Glendale Raptors. They will get first use of the ball here in the second half. It'll be deep in the pocket to McGee, who goes high down the middle of the field, looking to use that sun that is setting in the west to his advantage. He finds a waiting Matt Turner. That one tapped down from Big. Now with Crusade. Referee Green happy to let this one play. Big donut coming in there from O'Neill. Now Davies has options to his right in Blake Rogers. The big prop forward. He barrels his way forward up to the 20-metre line.
That's a tackle. He's out the way.
Now Davies again to McGee. And Pete, you talked about the structure in the pre-game of the Raptors, those layers of attack. We just haven't seen it much here in the first half. Now they're starting to play with a little more structure.
That's right, but the game ball is just a little bit too slow for them to be able to get into their structure, and there's another error by Glendale. That they just need to make sure that they're able to hold on to the ball and not try and do a little bit too much. But the tackle contest is great right now by the Seawolves. Slowing that ball down is preventing Glendale from using their layers of attack.
I like seeing the props looking to get involved out on the corner, but I think that's one of those ones where if you're an outside back, you got to push Blake Rogers back inside. Taking a look at the bench for Seattle and some crucial players to come in the front row and talking to their player coach, Phil Mack. They have no doubts about any of those front row subs, Shepard, Hayden, and Gordon. And then they're going to have to use some of those backline players.
First run of the second stanza here. It'll go the way of the Seawolves with Mack. Hutting, waiting patiently at the back. They find Smith. Burke Combs. Davies goes low and sends him flying through the airs. Now the beast to Shell. Hutting. He takes a carry onto the 40-metre line. Now Mack flat across field. Pass doesn't go to Henry. He makes a lemonade out of those lemons. That one just kicked through here for the Raptors. Over the sideline. It's been a messy start here to the second half for the Glendale Raptors.
That's right,
and I think their bench, Pete.
Yeah, that's right, and I think that the bench is going to be really important. Dylan Fawcett, the Eagle hooker, pushed to the bench by Zach Fenoglio, and the front row, just like you said, Brian, is going to be important. But I like to see Adam Alifa, the experience in the centers. I think he's someone that can unlock that Seawolf defense.
I can see Adam Alifa in the in-goals talking to Peter Tiberio. Both the Malifa twins, Nesse Malifa, Atta Malifa, long-time servants of rugby here in the United States. Started just down the road, Pete, at Belmont Shore, playing club rugby.
Well, Southern California just has some wonderful rugby. I coached here with Ombak, and it's just phenomenal. All the way from youth, they've got great youth programs all the way up through teams like Belmont Shore and Ombak.
And now the San Diego Legion, whose home field we are at today. The premier team in Southern California. One of these two will be the premier team in the United States this year. As Davies goes short to Campbell. That's a better run there from Bryce Campbell, the inside centre. Now Davies to his right, finds McGee. London inside. Good offload back to O'Neill. That one's turned over, it's play on as it spills out the side to Phil Mack.
Just unable to put the phases together that they need to. They got fast balls, but poor presentation led to the turnover.
Smith looks along the sideline. They wasted just a little bit too much time there, Seattle.
Yeah, just not enough weight on the boot of that kick from Peter Smith. Great take in the air, though, to make up for it.
And he's met by Sam Figg. Now Mack looks to find the back there. McGee showing the soccer skills as he tries to stop that one with the feet before firing this ball low back to Mack. Well fielded by the 9. Now Turner with some space. Weighs up his option, goes high. Kicking battle here between both these sides. You think that would have to favour Glendale, Pete, the stronger of the two sides when it comes to kicking options.
That's right, but the kick is only as good as the kick chase, and both teams' kick chases have been excellent.
Now running, Seawall chant coming up from the fans now as they encourage their Seattle side to hold true here. McGee goes flat. Campbell, well there. Great tackle there from Paulson. Now Khalifi. He bubbles in there and finishes the job. London spots a little half gap. Outside Crumbrive, shuts quickly. Now McGee. Russellika looking for the steal. Clean out is good though from the Raptors.
Referee has asked the TMO to have a look at a tackle.
And now we will have time out to go back and take a look at that shot on London, who is down in back play on one knee. You can see him there just to the left of your screen. That's Sam Fig.
So I need you to check the tackle of 13 blue and the entry of green 5 into that tackle.
Oh, you can see he comes in, he doesn't wrap. I mean, I think that's a yellow card, Brian.
Yep. And see where the contact is, please.
Because I think the contact's going to be above the shoulder. You can hear the referee asking for where the contact is.
We're here.
Well, it's a silly play by Paulson
well, that's what we're looking
to
for.
come in at all with that angle and the elbow and no wrap. It misses London, at least. Yeah,
Okay,
it doesn't hit his head. It looks like if anything hit his head, it was Paulson's knee dragging.
At the moment, we have a side entry.
So he's saying that the penalty is for side entry, and he wants to see if there's foul play, which is where the contact is.
Let's go back down to Stacey Pates with tackle technique. Maybe Mr. Paulson can take some notes.
Okay. Okay. Have you got me, Mark?
Tackling in rugby is an art form, but how do you stay safe and be powerful at the same time? Chris Thomas, how do we do that?
So when you're going in to make a tackle, you want to have nice low body positioning and you want to make that shoulder contact first. So when you approach Jordan, you want your cheek to go to her cheek and then you want to drive through the tackle.
Okay, cheek to cheek.
Yeah.
Low body position.
Okay, again, green 5. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Referee listening to the TMO.
Okay.
Big decision coming up here for Scott Green and his team.
Okay, thank you.
There you see Paulson coming in. London already, he really doesn't, I'm not
involved
too
in that
sure what
last
makes
instance?
contact.
Green
It looks
three,
like the upper
green
body
three as
misses
well.
altogether. There is a little bit of contact.
Captain.
And we're listening to Scott Green here.
Captain.
He'll explain his decision, both the captains.
Captain. Hey. Captain.
All the players here can see the Jumbotron, so they all looked up and were pointing to it and making their own decisions.
Okay, in the first half, I had some off-the-ball stuff. I know it's a championship game.
Yeah.
Now it's continue on. So just back here, we had 6 blue and 3 involved in off-the-ball stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, it's got to stop now. Listen to me, we're playing rugby. Here, I have green 5 enter into the tackle.
Yeah.
There's nothing clear from the TMO about contact,
Yeah.
so we're going to play the penalty here.
Okay.
So, back 10.
Will it give us 6 every week?
Yep.
Scott, I understand. I mean, I don't
The
care about...
decision's been made now, and we're going to play on from that.
So you can hear the referee say there's been a lot of off-the-ball stuff, and he wants that to stop. So that means when the ball goes away, players are wrestling a little bit, trying to basically physically impose themselves on the opposition.
I think this is the right decision by Scott Green. There's nothing clear about any of the contact that was made. The TMO doesn't clear things up, and so I agree with the penalty. Glendale's going to end up with good territory out of this as well, so it works in their favor. But I think some of those emotions, we saw them flare up right at the end of that half with the 2 scrum halves going at it.
We did.
And it's kind of bled into the second half as well. And look, no one's going to give anything, no quarter given either way.
And let's remember that the game last time they played was really close at halftime, and then Glendale pulled away. So this is an important bulkhead for attack that Glendale are forming.
Now Fenolio with the throw-in. London has made his way to the bench. Malifa replaces him. Malifa to 12. Campbell pushes out to outside centre. Fenolio on point with the throw to Quill. Here's some more. Ball drops down. Now Fenolio Spots a little opening right in front of the hooker. Fig. First opportunity of the second half for either side here in a scoring position. As Quill to go forward. Another injury here for the Raptors as Fafita slow to his feet. Now it's Glendale on this left-hand side knocking on the door for first points of the second half. Davies goes flat to Landry. Back down the blind side, quick hands. The pressure from Seattle too much. Offside though. And now another penalty for Glendale inside the 5 of Seattle.
So surprising for Glendale in that line out that they weren't able to hold the ball. They dropped it. Brian, you demonstrated in the opening how good they are. So they're going to go for this again. They're not going to drop it twice.
Not rolling away. Maybe a little cruel there on Sequoia. Burt Combs finds himself at the bottom of the pile. You could see his arms outstretched. And he was trying to tell the referee, I'm not involved, I'm not involved. And I think he wanted him to be a little bit more active in getting out. So long advantage being played there.
Fenolio on point yet again. Landry. Now this looks familiar. The target in Landry. Fenolio at the back though, under pressure. Another penalty for the Raptors. This one in the 5-2, Pete. This could be a yellow card as Scott Green, he calls timeout.
I think that's right, and that's what I was going to say, Dan. I think this is an opportunity for a yellow card. He's definitely going to have a talk.
Well, the bad part, the harsh part for Seattle is they had stopped this maul, Pete, but then you got a player coming in from the side. That's the call on number 4, Crumry. And there was no reason for him to go across that ruck, which it was at that point because the tackle had been made.
Well, it was Crumry and it was Oli Khalifi were both diving over the top. They need more discipline when they're down here. I think the referee gave them a warning. One more penalty will be a yellow card.
I tell you what, if Seattle figures out a way to stop this driving maul, it's going to be a huge boost for the Seawolves.
That's deja vu all over again. Fenolio, this time to Quill. Looks like a better platform for the maul this time. And the Raptors march their way over the line here. They're close. Fenolio has it. He's over the line. There's a try for the Raptors. They retake the lead 12 points to 8.
So what they did, Brian, as you said, Seattle had stopped it in other places of the line out. So what Glendale did is they threw to a different jumper. They threw to John Quill. That means that the primary defenders of the drive are the back row when you throw to the back, and that's why they were able to get over the line.
Same formula. The only different ingredient there is Quill at the back with the ball, and then the tip of the spear driving forward. We saw this in the pregame. Difficult to stop. It's like trying to stop a train from going downhill.
You know, I think it's one of those parts of the game where it's almost impossible to defend a well-driven maul legally. Like, you have to find ways, you have to be smart to be able to defend it in a way that the referee doesn't call. You can see, look at the body height of Glendale. Everyone is below Seattle. All the hips are pointing in the same direction.
Now McGee, big conversion to extend to a 6-point lead. Conversion unsuccessful, score remains 12 points to 8, 50 minutes gone here at Torero Stadium.
Both teams leaving some points on the table by virtue of the boot, and that 2-pointer would have made it so that Seattle would have to score and then convert in order to take the lead once again. But as it stands, 4-point lead. We've talked about Seattle, Pete, and how they live off some of that turnover ball. The scraps, they're so good at it. If Glendale can be a little bit more disciplined, not cough the ball up, it'll be very difficult for Seattle to score.
Landry, solid on the restart as Quill plays out the back, under pressure. That one down the middle of the field. This is a chance to counter. Turner has it. Now finds Hutting. This is where he's dangerous. Recut Hutting. He winds up the big number 8 and charges back there. The Seawolves find themselves in the Raptors halves. Oh, big tackle, Sam Fig. He gets a square up on Suniula. Now Mecha. Still going forward here. And again for the second time in the game, Pete, the Seawolves get caught in the maul and cannot play the ball.
And John Quill was great. He was holding it up. Not only was he holding it up, Brian, he was shouting, maul, maul, maul to the referee. And as soon as the referee said maul, he went down, he lay on the ball. Even Sean Davies came in and laid on the ball and made sure it wasn't available.
Yeah, but again, it's the body position. Tim Metcher, 270-pound tight head prop. You cannot get held up if you're Metcher. Hadding's there, but even Hadding's high there.
So, you know, it's been really interesting for me, Brian, that we haven't seen enough passes back inside here from Glendale. That's what we need to do.
We're about to go down for the scrum. Let's take a look at Stacey Pates in the scrum herself.
Okay.
So the prop is the most important piece of the scrum. So, Hope Rogers, how does a prop like you get it done?
Yes, I would say there's three major things that we focus on as props. One is body height. You want to make sure that you're nice and low, so bend down nice and low. Second would be the bind. Come across here and grab a nice tight bind right there. Third would be the engagement. You want to come in nice and square and drive together with your team. Let's try it from the top. Crouch, bind, set. And
Great stuff there from Stacey Pates and the USA Women's Sevens team, based down here at Chula Vista, coming out and helping us out. As the Raptors go wide, Paso doesn't go to hand. Davidson out wide, forced to clean up. Now Davies back to the midfield, finds O'Neill. He's met by Hutting. McGee sits in the pocket, high crossfield kick. Testing, Burke Combs out here, Crusade flies high. And both those wingers, entertainment personified out there on that far touchline.
Big crossfield kick here. The target, Crusade. And again, Sequoia Burke Combs doing a nice job.
It's gone forward off blue, directly into touch.
Difficult position for the backup winger. He's had a good game.
He has, and as long as both players are in the air and both players are going for the ball, that contact in the air is legal. And so both players were up in the air, but it was a knock-on by Crusade in the air that has led to a scrum here for Seattle. So again, Glendale are struggling a little bit to really play the territory that we expected them to play. And Seattle have done a good job with that back three rotation, Brian, that you pointed out early on in the game.
Good platform here for Seattle, especially if they can get a little bit of a left shoulder here and try to prevent the Glendale back three from breaking off the scrum. Could be an opportunity for a set piece. Sorry, set move from the backs.
Set!
Moves to the left, Sunula, Rusalika goes short. They'll look to come around the same way with quick ball. Now Smith finds Turner. Malifa wraps up that Turner just over the halfway line into the Raptors territory now. Khalifi plays out the back to Sunula. Now Rusalika, a little opening for Rusalika. This is better stuff from the Seawolves. Hutting, quick hands. Now they go wide with Smith. There's an opportunity here. Burke Combs, low pass. What a pickup from Matt Turner. He's brought down on the 40. Back to the middle with Khalifi. This game sits on a knife's edge at the moment. You're just waiting. I think Brian Hightower, you said it. For a little bit of individual brilliance, perhaps. And perhaps it's that man, Tolitahu, one of the stars of 2018. Khalifi, his third touch in this sequence of phases. As Smith has it again. Flat pass, Turner under pressure. Quick hands, Burke Combs now. They've made their way into the 22 of the Raptors. Metcher. Good tackle comes in there from Rogers. Forces the mistake. And now the turnover ball for the Raptors. It's D'Archibald. Tiberio chasing. The bounce beats both of them. And Tolitahu. Well, USA didn't make the World Cup in soccer. Tolitahu showing why. And now the turnover. It's Campbell under the post. just like that, the Raptors swoop on a Seawolves mistake.
So that goes all the way back. We probably had the best series of attack that Seattle had, and it was Tim Metcher losing the ball in contact. Great vision there by Sean Davies, but that all comes down to, Brian, as a coach, you tell the players, if the ball's bouncing around, what you do is you dive on it. And what Vili Tolotau tried to do was he tried to kick it. And that is where that was lost.
And they did all the work to get back. Tolotau gets on his horse, gets back to help Tiberio out. Matt Turner gets back. Everybody's back doing their job. The ball bounces up for Tolotau. He tries to take a hack at it with his foot instead of falling on it, as you mentioned, and that's the difference. We talked about the small margins of this game, and somebody was going to have to step up during play and take advantage of the scraps. Seattle usually the beneficiary of those scraps. This time it's Glendale.
That conversion was successful, 19 points to 8. We will take a short break. When we return, the second half continues as we push towards crowning a champion 2018 Major League Rugby. Welcome back to Torero Stadium. We just took a look at our top 15 players on Monday night at 8 Eastern. Some of golf's biggest names and biggest fans take a look at the top 16 PGA championships from the past 100 years and make their case for the greatest of all time. Don't miss the 100th PGA Championship, the ultimate bracket, on CBS Sports Network. A great summer of action coming up on CBS Sports, but right now, the final 20 minutes here off Major League Rugby, and it's the Glendale Raptors who stole ascendancy in this game away from the Seawolves with that turnover try.
Stay out of first. No, don't go in five. Just stay there.
There's the Raptors inside their 22. Fawcett gets his first touch of the game. The Butcher, he'll look to cut off some meat here with his early involvement. Turner comes wide to Smith. Bert Combs looking for a little opening. He's taken high, it looks like, by big advantage coming the way of Seattle.
Brian, Dave Williams talked about at halftime they had to reduce the penalties. I think that's the first penalty they've had in this second half, so that's why they've been able to pull away. But immediately, a little bit of a high tackle there by Sam Figg. Immediately it gives Seattle a chance to get their line-out drive going and force their way into the Seattle 22.
And this is where Seattle needs to go back to where they were in the first 10 minutes of this game. See the high tackle there by Sam Figg. A little bit of territory, a good line-out throw. Aladdin Shermer in for Taylor Crumry at lock at this point. He gets his hands dirty straight away.
Was Shermer with the tag, now Tolotau. He looks to make up for his errors. He hands the ball away to Hutting. Here's an opportunity for the Seawolves. Numbers to the left, Smith, quick hands will do it. Ball goes to ground, Russellika for the corner, the big man reaches out. He's over the line. Now, did he get it down legally? That's the question.
I think they're gonna go back to see if there was a knock on. Grounding's good, try awarded, says Scott Green, and just like that, you know, it took him about 50 minutes to score, but they did it right off the kickoff.
Well, interesting, because I think as soon as Adam Malifa has come in, what Seattle have done is they've attacked that 10-12 channel. Adam Malifa is a great attacker, but not as strong defender. And so I think that with Chad London off and Bryce Campbell moved to 13, that's now become a weak point, and that's exactly where Tulatau went through.
What do you got there, mate?
Looks like another check with the TMO.
Referee stop. Wants to have a look at the German clock.
So 2 lines of attack right there. I think they're looking to see
the grounding by 13 green, please, Mark.
If the grounding was okay. I'm not sure the touch judge was in a great position, Derek Summers. I mean, I think you never want to be over the top of the ball. Great camera work there.
No, we can't slow that down, mate.
What it looks like is that there's not enough video evidence to overturn it to me.
I don't have a clear view from this big screen, mate. It's inconclusive for me. I need you to give me a try or no try, please.
Well, this would be heartbreak for Seattle to have a second try overturned. That's fine.
You have to have clear evidence to overturn the call. And at this point, if these are the same angles that the TMO's getting, and they are.
So for me, there's nothing clear and obvious there.
All you need, Brian, is downward pressure.
Do you concur?
So all you need is downward pressure. The question is, does he have downward pressure there?
Well, I just hope that the TMO doesn't overanalyze this. The more you look at it, the more you're worried for Seattle. To me, that's a try.
It's a try.
That's
clear,
a try.
To me, it's clear grounding. You don't even need control, and that's one of the misconceptions.
I'm going to keep with my on-field decision as a try.
Well, I'm not sure why we're continuing to look at this, Pete, with the TMO. I think 4,000 people who are packed into the stadium, they think it's a try. We think it's a try.
And Scott Green thinks it's a try too, and Dan, he's just awarded it, and he goes with his gut. And I think this is the interpretation that Green is applying, and he's right, that there's not enough evidence to overturn it, no matter what look he's getting. A little too much to ask from the corner there for the boot of Pete Smith. So 6 points, the difference.
And that all came back from that Sam Figg high tackle that led, just like Dave Williams said, it's the penalties that are giving the Seattle the opportunities, but Seattle really took that opportunity. Great run by Tilataro, great run support by Hatting, and then great fast play. And we didn't talk about it, but Peter Smith's hands under pressure to be able to move that ball was pretty silky smooth.
McGee goes deep, Hatting, Fields, under the attention of Kurikoshvili, the replacement from the Republic of Georgia.
Tackle! Away, out you go.
Mac.
You're holding him there. That's been passed back.
22 kicks down the middle of the field. Diarchibald fields this on his own 40, and here comes the counter-attack. Chip from Diarchibald, makes a bounce. Mac. We saw that in round 2 out in Seattle. Mac and Diarchibald coming together. A little cleaner this time. There's Hatting. Finds Duchel. He just beasts his way back up to the 50. Showing why he earned the nickname.
I don't think either team have had a really good kicking game.
Hold on, Pete. Here's a chance for Tiberio. Back inside for Hatting. Has the number 8 got the speed? He's coming across McGee. There's the try. What a try from Ricard Hatting.
It was the pass to Tiberio that springs it on the corner, and there's a forward marking this speedy winger, number 11. He finds enough daylight down the touchline and then back inside to Ricard Hatting, and then shows up as an option for Hatting at the end, but the freight train is off the tracks by then. Look at Hatting. Great pass back inside by Tiberio.
And so if you watch, after Hatting passes the ball, he runs what we call a positive line, which means he goes and supports the ball. And, you know, this guy hasn't played all season, but he's making an impact in last weekend and this weekend. And without him, I don't think Seattle would be here. And without him, I don't think they'd be in this game.
And imagine that, just a few minutes ago, Glendale was up by 2 tries. And suddenly, Peter Smith with a chance to take the lead back.
And in the first half, Seattle attacked the blind side but weren't successful. And I think maybe some of the subs for Glendale, right down the middle.
Peter Smith's boot woke up. Dan Power, a former punter, injured in Japan, came over to Central Missouri to be a punter, stuck around because he met a girl from Chicago, and he hasn't left since. And the Seawolves are super glad that that's the case.
Well, San Diego, you couldn't get further from Central Missouri than the beautiful city here in Southern California. And Peter Smith making it his own with that conversion. 20 points to 19. Seattle with the lead here. 18 minutes left to play. And momentum. It's a funny thing, isn't it, Brian Hightower? When it goes your way, absolutely everything goes right. In this last 10 minutes, it's been all Seattle.
More subs coming in. Connor Cook wearing the 19 jersey for Glendale.
Seattle carried the ball back in area 22.
It's a great kick from McGee. Finds open space. Does not find the sideline. Now Smith. But you can see the difference there in the boot. The power of McGee, the distance of his right foot, Pete, just probably 5 or 10 yards greater than Smith.
Right, and I think Smith's kicks are a real challenge. I think that there's an opportunity for Glendale to keep that ball in hand because his kicks are down the middle. He did push the Archibald back, but he was able to feed that to McGee, and McGee had great vision to put it in. And Smith, actually, his clearance kick is okay, but here we go. Now we have Glendale with an attacking platform to see if they can get this lead back.
Finds Fig. Now Malifa plays out the back to McGee. Crusay, a big opening. Crusay. Oh, Tiberio. That's a try saver from Tiberio. They're in all sorts of trouble. Now Turner. Back to Tiberio under pressure. They'll take that, Seattle. They'll take the line out, Brian Hightower. They were in big trouble.
I think that Harley Davidson, who is known as a scorer, but defensively is a bit of a challenge. He really is able to take out Matt Turner here, and you'll be able to see Tiberio moves the ball wide to Matt Turner, and watch this, great footwork, great drive, head to the side just like Stacey Pates talked about before with the tackle. Real classic tackle using the sideline.
You gotta love this game. You see Harley Davidson piles Turner into touch, and then a little hug, a little handshake afterwards.
Penalty goes there. I saw Connor Cook in the 19 jersey, Brian, dive into that ruck, and it looked like he just didn't have control of his body position.
Yeah, off his feet. You got to play this game on your feet, whether you're in attack or whether you're coming to counter ruck. As soon as the knee hits the ground, or if the body is supported by the arms and not the feet, referee's going to call that every time. Connor Cook a little overzealous on the counter.
And the most important statement in the law book is the referee is sole arbiter of law. So it doesn't matter. Connor Cook obviously thought he was on his feet, but the referee says, number 19, you're off your feet, and that's when he needs to let go. The referee is talking to you, so he doesn't penalize you, but you've got to listen to him, even if you think he's wrong.
We go back to the last matchup between these two. Seattle had a lead for a while, and then Glendale came roaring back. Pete Steinberg trying to make it a different outcome this time, and they're going back to the forwards, and it's an all-substitute front row now.
Shepard, Hayden, Seawolves, they thought this one was going to be one up front. They elected for that big bench. Could have been stolen here by Fenolio.
That's a huge turnover by Glendale.
Now McGee, from the shadows of his own goalpost, goes down the field for Turner. Fields midfield on his 50. Finds Siberia. Oh, there's Malifa. I think he may have heard you, Pete Steinberg. Not a strong defender. Get that one into you, he says. Now Gordon. Hayden. Part of that trio of a fresh front row that's on the field. And there is the third member now in Shepard.
Talk to me.
Back to his right, Smith waiting patiently.
I need a number.
There's Rasalika, the big Fijian. They come back to the middle. A little bit of unstructured play here from Seattle. They look a little flat-footed.
Scott Green playing a long offsides advantage against Glendale.
Offside, blue, back line.
You wonder here, as tight as this game is, Dan, might this be a three-pointer. Does Pete Smith have the boot?
Well, I think he has the boot here. He's definitely, in that last kick, he made it, and that's exactly what he's going for. The question is, does he have the accuracy? His last kick was beautiful, but he has missed 3.
Kickers, it's so much about rhythm. And especially after making that difficult sideline conversion, he might just feel that confidence. If your kicker's on, you're riding.
Well, the great thing about taking this kick is even if he misses, what he gets is a 22 dropout, so Seattle get the ball back in about the same position they had here, so really a no-risk choice.
Strike from Smith is good, he turns. Flags are up, another 3.
No
23
risk
points to 19.
Yeah.
Man, this is a real gut check for this Glendale team, right? So they come in as favorites. They've got a deep bench. The question is, can they keep their cool? They've been throwing the ball around. They haven't been keeping to their structures. They have to believe in what they're doing.
And completely foreign territory for this Glendale Raptor team. Normally, the second half is theirs. That's when they pile on the points. For them to be behind right now, we're going to see what the constitution of this Raptor team is all about.
Olsen, he runs into a very stiff shot from Fenolio. Now Smith again goes down the middle of the field to D'Archibald. I almost wonder if that's a tactic, as he has employed that kick numerous times here this evening. This time to the sideline though. Good pickup from Smith, that one, right up to the halfway line. The territory game starting to favor Seattle.
Well, I think that there's an opportunity for McGee to run that. I know he's looking up for the kick, but Turner's an old, wily fullback. He's reading it. He's giving him the shallow look. And as soon as he goes to kick, he's dropping back. And he's giving Peter Smith a lot of time to clear.
By the time McGee gets the ball in hand and makes that decision, Turner shows him one thing, and he's already back in another place. As you mentioned, a good little bait and switch technique.
Nice take there from Cook under pressure. Davies at the back. Goes to the box kick. Burke Combs though, after a little juggle. Pretty safe, and now he returns 5. Burke Combs up to his 40. And they have the advantage as well. They'll come back for it. Maybe a high tackle in that little contest.
Well, when they go to the box kick there, Pete, it's like they're daring Seattle to play from inside their half. And Seattle says, we're up to the challenge. And it's Sequoia Burke Combs who just decides, you know what, I'm going forward with this thing. That's why you play the game, and he gets the benefit of the high tackle to boot.
Let's go down to Stacey Pates with a little inside information about Sequoia Burke Combs.
Well, listen, he is coming in and doing a stellar job. Got the starting nod here tonight in such a huge game. And guys, he's had blood on his jersey and his shorts all game long. He took a hit under the chin much earlier in the first half. Of course, they tended to it quickly. He was definitely not going to come out of this game, and he has been instrumental all night long.
Oh, been there before. Nothing a few staples during halftime wouldn't fix, Dan.
Hold the ball, mate. I'm standing in the tunnel. Let's go. Let's go.
So the referee is trying to get the line out set. There's new players coming in, so he has to give the same message he gave at the start of the game. Might give Glendale a little bit of a clue about what Seattle are trying to do.
That one stolen. Kodikoshvili. As we enter the final 10 minutes here, gentlemen, it's the championship minutes at Torero Stadium. White, the replacement. He goes for a run. Now McGee. Pass doesn't go to hand. D'Archibald, that one spills forward. That was a big tackle from Rusalika that forced that handling error. And no advantage will come back to the scrum, but this just eats away precious seconds here, Pete Steinberg.
Well, you know, Seattle is one of the oldest teams in the league. Their starting lineup is over 30, and so average is over 30, and so their experience is going to really tell to close out. They've got 9 minutes to go with 4 minutes, and they're up by 4.
Guys, every once in a while, if you're a front row forward and you get a chance to hit a wing, you unload. Here's Deschelle with the grab there, and watch, you can see John Hayden coming in, giving Harley Davidson a little bit of the business.
Crouch!
We heard Hope Rogers say the props are the most powerful players on the field, and John Hayden showed it right there.
You've got a nice gap there for your head to go into. Can you put it there for me?
It's like Wile E. Coyote finally catching the Roadrunner, getting his chance.
Indeed.
Okay.
Talked to Phil Mack before the game, and he said this front row, 6 guys that normally before the game they say, all right, who wants to start it and who wants to finish it? Absolute faith in all 6 front row forwards, and now they got to finish the job.
There we go.
Another reset off the scrum.
And this might play in Seattle's favor. You got fresh subs off the bench for Seattle. You still have Fafita
and
Fenolio in the front row for Glendale. Hard to get a drive going when there's not a lot of gas left in the tank.
Bind! 6!
Scrum here as Mack goes wide to Smith. Smith, big dummy, Russellika for the pickup. He loses his footing in the 22. Now Tolitao, the Samoan missile. He comes flying into the breakdown.
I think that was a bounce pass.
Now Hutting looks to spin away. Mack under pressure. Duchel evades the tackle with White. Smith. Suniula turns it back, Russellika. What a game the outside centre has had.
Stay out, please. Turnover's good. Turnover's good.
Turnover, clean from the Raptors. McGee, inside his own 5, goes down. How about Matt Turner, back in position already.
Guys, knife edge stuff. 4 points is the difference. 7 minutes left on the clock. Championship final. You couldn't ask for anything more.
Archibald goes high in his 22 to field that turnover. Not clean though. Not clean.
So I think that was Bert Combs really struggling to get out from there, and the referee called him for getting in the way.
A couple of passes here. First by Smith. He finds Russellika just off the tips of his shoelaces, and then it looks like a bounce pass. You never see the bounce pass off the ground there.
I think it might have been a kick pass. I think it might have been knocked down onto a foot and up into the hands. That kid who drove twice a week from Central Washington with John Hayden to practice with Seattle. He is a future star of the US. Billy Tulatau got capped for the first time for the US, and we'll see him. I think he's aiming for the World Cup next year in Japan.
Yeah, originally from Hawaii. Made his way over to the States, play some rugby.
There goes Fawcett. Davies back down the blind side, D'Archibald. Here's Davidson. Haven't seen much of Harley Davidson tonight. Now take a look at Harley Davidson as he revs his engines down to the 40. Fawcett. Can't get away from Tolitau. Wide Malifa. Options inside and out. Goes to Campbell. Russellika is able to shut down the USA Eagle.
You guys, Kurtikashvili up very slowly for Glendale.
There you go. The turnover. Tiberio though. Davidson, big tackle. That's got to be some side entry action there from the Raptors, you would think. They'll get the scrum anyway for the Seawolves.
Wow, so again, just tremendous defense, phase after phase after phase. But what Seattle do an incredible job of is when they get the opportunity to have a hard launch and make a big hit, they take it. They bend and bend and bend, and then when that opportunity is there, they come up right here. You can see Phil Mack coming in, putting that pressure, and there's that knock on. Nice hit there by Harley Davidson, who's really doing some great defense.
You guys, Tolitau on the ground right now. They need 5 more minutes out of Vili Tolitau. Normally, Aladdin Shermer comes in to replace Tolitau, but they've left him in. A tactical substitution to bring a lockout instead of this flanker. And it looks like he's going to make his way to the bench. 75 bold minutes from Vili Tolitau, and it's Cole Van Harn, also from the University of Michigan, who's going to replace him.
And that will push Duchel, who's been playing in the lock, back to the lock. Back to flanker.
Sorry, Pete. Let's go down to Stacey Pates with Vili Tolitau.
I got to tell you, one of my favorite things about this sport is the camaraderie. This is truly a brotherhood. What the fans could not see while I was down here at my perfect vantage point when Billy was on the ground, it was Davies, a Glendale Raptor, who had his hand on the shoulder of Billy, making sure that Scott Green was aware they had a man down. That's just an amazing set of values that this rugby sport enables these guys to share with America.
Well, Stacey, a couple of weeks ago, they were wearing the national team colors together, and that's really what that brotherhood's all about.
So, important scrum here. What Seattle have done a great job of is they've played territory in the last 15, 20 minutes, Brian. They haven't actually been down in the 22 of Seattle, and it's been the penalty and the scrum. And right there, whoa. I know, I think Fafita was a little lucky there not to be caught by Derek Summers, and you can see that now we've got the referee coming around on this side.
Blindside's wide open as Harley Davidson shifts behind the scrum. And not a straight drive. Yep, sorry about that, Dan, but yeah, not a straight drive there.
And it's a free kick, which means you can't kick it to touch. You've either got to drive, you've got to choose another scrum, or you're going to tap it, and they choose a scrum. And actually, Phil Mack would have taken that quickly if he'd got the ball quickly.
A good look at Phil Mack. And win or lose, you got to take your hat off to the number 9, the Canadian international for Seattle. He's been a player, and then Tony Healy couldn't get the paperwork he needed to come be the coach, so Mack stepped up. He didn't even get any more money being the coach. He's just a player coach. But he said it's really been coaching by committee, and it somehow has worked for this team. You got old players like the man carrying the ball there, Shalom Suniula, Matt Turner, and everybody stepped up to take a leadership role.
Well, now it's about possession for them. They just want to hold on to the ball. No penalties, just hold on to the ball and eat the last 3 minutes out.
Now look to their experienced players like that man right there, Ricard Hutting.
So they're going to do pistons. They're going to have their forwards working in pods, either side of the ruck. It's going to be very difficult here for Glendale.
They got 2 minutes to burn, and that's a lot.
So Ricard Hadding right there got the ball, and instead of taking it and driving, he went straight to ground. He left it easy for the Glendale players, and I think that was Connor Cook to get over there.
And that strategy, when you have a minute left over, maybe, Pete, but 2 minutes is a lot of time to burn. Oh, wow. And that was a huge missed kick there by Will McGee.
Find the line. What a mistake from the Eagles fly half. When you think of a player of his caliber, international player for the USA, does not find the line. You saw his reaction too. Straight down, he drops the head. Not what Glendale needed.
But actually, he just took off a little bit more than he could chew with his kick, and with the clearance of Matt Turner, I wouldn't have kicked that to touch. I'd have run it up. Have 2 pick and goes and kick it out. They've actually given Glendale an opportunity here, and with Fawcett in the scrum half position, they're going to be driving this.
Oh, that one spilled forward though. Spilled forward. There's a turnover for the Seawolves. Now Duchelle. Can they close this game out, Seattle? Ball waiting at the back. Gordon comes across field with Shepherd.
And now it's a minute.
Normally you would kick from this position, but all they need is territory, and when the clock hits 80, they can kick it out, and they are the MLR champions 2008.
Another one around the corner here. The experience of Phil Mack.
Use the ball.
The troops. Another one forward. They go as we inch closer and closer to a full-time whistle.
20 more seconds. Phil Mack now just verbally commanding the troops.
I mean, he's coaching the forwards from the back of the ruck. I mean, he's now taken his player hat off, and now he's coaching with 10 seconds to go.
And a penalty there.
That should wrap it up, you would think. They can take their time here. Just 2 seconds left on the stadium clock.
And Mack with ball in hand, and he knows no time on the clock. He'll ask Scott Green how much time. Well, he's a player, he's a coach, he's getting married in 3 weeks as well. A lot on his mind.
Tap. There's the kick. It's over the sideline. Seattle, third time is a charm. They are your 2018 MLR champions. The Pacific Northwest, you have another champion.
Well, this was a game that was worthy of the championship game. It was a great game of rugby. There was high pressure, there were big hits, there were some great tries, but most importantly, there was a tremendous amount of mental toughness by Seattle to come down. They were two scores down. We thought it was over beginning the second half, and they were able to pull it back. And, you know, what an amazing performance in the last 25 minutes.
And Dan, it really was, guys, about the seawall, and Glendale frustrated more than we'd seen in this MLR season. They could not get through.
We will return down to the field for the trophy presentation and our player of the series. They say defense wins championships. That rings true at Torero Stadium. The Seawolves get it done, 23 points to 19. Yeah, I'd love a water.
Is this all, Stacey? Then we come back for another.
Welcome back to Torero Stadium. The Seawolves, they are your 2018 Major League Rugby champions. 23 points to 19 over Glendale. We're going to go down to the field with Stacey Pates and the trophy presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, we knew it would be a battle, number 1 versus number 2. Right now, to present the America's Championship Season Shield, it is the Commissioner, Dean Howes.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, we need to thank both teams, both the Glendale Raptors and the Seattle Seawolves. Thank you so much for just some terrific rugby. Thank you, gentlemen. We also need to thank all the players that aren't here tonight and those teams that didn't make it to this championship. They're the ones that saw the vision and helped us to accomplish our vision this year. We've got a lot of firsts this year. This is probably the biggest first. And this is the first, the inaugural delivery of the America's Championship Shield to the Seattle Seawolves.
Shane Skinner handing out all kinds of kisses down here, and for good reason. Part of the ownership group of these champion Seawolves, y'all, Shane Skinner. We'll see if we can get a couple words from Shane.
Oh, God. All I think about, the boys worked so hard, went through so much adversity, heart, love, brotherhood. You guys all had each other's back to the end. You deserve this. You worked for this. You deserved it. Seawolves!
Ladies and gentlemen, the first ever Major League Rugby Champions 2018. Fellas, this is yours. Hoist that bad boy up. Hoist that bad boy up. This is yours. Phil Mack and company. Hey, if y'all want to pick that up, go ahead and pick that up. It's going to take a couple of you guys, though. Let's hear it. It's heavy. Let's hear it for the Seattle Seawolves. Oh! We cannot finish off an amazing night without a championship series. MVP, Vili Tulatau. Stop staring at that shield, my love, and let's talk about the MVP. What do you have to say about your mates?
About my, man, it's all but thanks to the boys for backing me up every time. And I messed up and one of us should have fell in it. Everybody didn't come and wrap me down. They came and filled up my gas tank and I kept on going. So thanks to the boys.
And it would not be complete without a gorgeous gift, an American-made watch for this year's championship series MVP. This is Vili.
Well, it's a fairy tale ending for the Seattle Seawolves as they run out winners. Gentlemen, what a great game, what a great season, what a great series for the Seawolves.
Absolutely, I thought this was a championship level game, the best that MLR has to offer.
After the break, final thoughts for the season.
The Major League Rugby Championship Series on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Virginia Mason. The Major League Rugby Championship Series on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Virginia. The Major League Rugby Championship Series on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Virginia Mason, proud exclusive medical care provider for the Seattle Seawolves. By the 2018 Special Olympics USA Games. Thank you to all participants and contributors. For more information, please visit www.specialolympics.org. And by X-Blades, official technical kit supplier of Major League Rugby.
Welcome back to San Diego Torero Stadium. Gentlemen, the highlights, there were plenty of them in this one.
A couple points early off the boot of Pete Smith, but that was all they could get.
And then Glendale came back, and the line-out drive has been a strength all season, and the patience right here to hold off the drive. This is what we saw all game, but they weren't able to do enough of it, and they had some problems actually in the second half.
And then turnabout is fair play, and so here comes Ray Barkwell. After a couple trips down near the 10-meter line of the Glendale Raptors, finally Seattle Seawolves get some points off of a try by the old wily veteran. He dots down.
And Glendale come back in the second half, again with that line-out drive. They weren't able to penetrate the seawall, but their forwards were able to get over the line when they were just 5 or 10 meters out.
And then a mistake. Toleta'u there gets to the ball, tries to hack at it with his foot. Instead, it spills around, and it's a try for Bryce Campbell.
And we thought this was it, and we were saying, how is Seattle going to come back? And just amazing hands there by Peter Smith, and Vasilika able to get that pull down.
And then Riekert Hadding adds another one, and that will be all that Seattle needs.
And that would wrap it up for the Seawolves as they would go on to become the 2018 Major League Rugby champions. And that caps things for 2018. There are the Seattle Seawolves and the America's Championship Shield. For Brian Hightower, Pete Steinberg and Stacey Pates, our entire crew, I'm Dan Power. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. We'll see you in 2019.
And then shows up